Hey, welcome back to another creepy TikTok. Do me a favor and hit that subscribe button if you guys are enjoying these videos, because they are banning and censoring me because they do not want you guys to see these videos. So make sure you're watching it, get that popcorn, and get ready. Let's get into it. Enjoy.
I don't think I could be elected dog catcher down there. But they voted for me for president twice. And
Well, this is boring. Why don't you talk about Jeffrey Epstein? I want to know about you and Jeffrey Epstein. Talk about you.
Important that when we talk about
Jeffrey Epstein flying on the Lolita Express. What's that? You know it, Bill. I'll leave. That's cool, man. That's cool.
Agents, provocateurs who are
You don't have to push me, man. Let's go. I'm walking.
Bill said about Arkansas, which we both love.
Jeffrey.
Any comments on the alleged allegation of your connection with Jeffrey Epstein? No.
How is the security there? Is it as secure as it should be for something as sensitive as this?
Absolutely not. Now, Plum Island is a sitting duck. The ferry to Connecticut goes right past it. It's totally exposed. And I'm not giving ideas to anybody because, in fact, folks with connections to Al Qaeda have been found with information dossier on Plum Island.
Carl Grossman wasn't exaggerating. Haifia Siddiqui is a Pakistani scientist who was named one of the 7 most wanted al-Qaeda fugitives. Lady al-Qaeda, they called her. When she was captured in 2008, she was carrying handwritten documents about a, quote, mass casualty attack, and a list of targets, including Plum Island.
It's in the rangefinder of Al Qaeda. If they want to hit Plum Island, there is utterly not a problem. I mean, it just sits there. It's not secluded. It's right there on the coastline. And all some Al Qaeda characters have to do is to rent a Boston whaler and one of these
rockets. Yeah.
You would have a disaster.
What type of accidents have you heard about?
The most serious accident was in 1978 when there was some sort of screw-up with the negative pressure system at the main laboratory and some foot-and-mouth disease virus just came out.
Those are only a few of the problems. There have been virus outbreaks, infected workers, contaminated raw sewage flushed into Long Island Sound. Even after 9/11, after Homeland Security took over, there were outbreaks of foot and mouth. But the scariest thing to escape is this tiny little tick. The insect Eric Traub worked with may be the most fierce weapon of all.
Experiments done with ticks raises the specter that might be the source of Lyme disease, a biological warfare experiment done by former Nazi scientists that got out of control.
Do you believe it is?
We wanted to see the records in connection to these tick experiments.
And what did you discover?
The claim was we have no records.
What?
I mean,
Wait a minute. Government always has records. Government records everything they do. That's standard operating procedure. And the thing that I'm learning is that whenever you see standard operating procedures violated, that is your classic sign that there's a conspiracy going on.
This smiling face is 14-year-old Tyree Sampson, who on Thursday night took a ride up on the Orlando freefall attraction.
How you going? 430 feet. That's great.
And on the way down at 75 miles an hour came out of his seat, ultimately crashing to his death. The question is, what happened?
Questions arise today about the safety of what's said to be one of the scariest rides in the USA, the haunted Mine Drop Park Ride. It comes after the tragic death of a 6-year-old girl. Screams were captured on cell phone video moments after Sunday's horrific accident.
Orland Caverns for a party that fell out of the shaft ride. The party's at the bottom of the shaft now.
The ride drops a staggering 110 feet underground in just 3 seconds into a pitch-black mine shaft.
Tonight we begin with breaking news. A horrific accident at the Ohio State Fair. 1 person is dead and 7 others injured after an amusement ride came apart, we're told, and then threw people through the air. Parents and children all among the injured tonight.
Now this is a file photo of the ride called the Fireball. 24 riders sit on 6 different benches and they're swung and spun through the air about 40 feet high above the ground. A person recorded the moment the ride came apart on their cell phone, and we will only show you a small portion of that.
You see the ride go up and then come down, and then you hear a loud bang right there. That's where we're going to freeze it, because you see it starting to fall and come apart. 1 bench full of people detached and fell. 2 people from another bench were ejected and flown through the air.
Well, 3 people are critically hurt. The governor has ordered all rides at the state fair shut down for now. And of course, we will monitor the situation and bring you any updates if we get them.
John Kennedy was killed because he wouldn't go to war. That's been proven. So there were 2 conspiracies that took place, the one to actually kill John Kennedy and then the one to cover it up afterward. And what happened? Kennedy was killed. They were doing it through Pope John. They hadn't looked at any evidence yet. Minneapolis morning paper, that meant it had to go out early. What can I tell you? Monday morning, they didn't see Oswald with a gun. In fact, he tested negative in a paraffin test. He hadn't fired a weapon. Today she's come out and said, reversed herself. And she said, in light of all the information, I don't believe my husband killed Kennedy today. But at the time, they got her to say he did, because they locked her up in solitaire and threatened to deport her.
This is one of the strangest mysteries we've ever seen on the internet. So if you've watched YouTube over the past couple of years, you might remember an account by the name of 2020 Vision. If you were to go to the 2020 Vision YouTube channel, you would see a series of videos with random celebrities listed. Each video featured an eye that would blink, showing a year, a month, and a date. And here's where the videos got creepy. If you look through the videos, they were all celebrities who had passed away in 2020. And with the eye, it would show the exact date that they passed. Which honestly doesn't seem like much. But the videos were uploaded all the way back in 2017. And here's an example of what one of the videos looked like. For a time, this took the internet by storm, because soon after, even more videos were uploaded that became correct in 2021. But the creator of the account did actually come out and explain everything. Like and follow for part 2.
Jacob, I said you need to finish your game now. It was already 1 hour, you just playing.
Just 10 minutes, 10 minutes.
No, 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
No.
Morning you are going to school, I said no. 5 minutes. And you will off the game? No. I said 5 minutes.
My mom always like saying, I'm doing it. It's not fair.
What is wrong?
Rothschilds, who work always together. That will be your power.
Just how rich and powerful is Lord Evelyn Rothschild? Historically, the Rothschild family wealth was hidden in underground vaults. The Rothschilds' secret financial records were never audited and never accounted for. Their family commissioned biographies give the illusion that their family fortune has dwindled, but researchers estimate their wealth at close to $500 trillion, more than half the wealth of the entire world. Besides their many castles, palace mansions, wineries, racehorses, and exotic resorts, the Rothschilds bought Reuters in the 1800s. Reuters then bought the Associated Press, which selects and delivers the same news stories to the entire world, day after day. They have controlling interest in 3 major television networks and easily avoid media attention since they own it. Until recently, they owned and operated England's Royal Mint and continue to be the gold agent for the Bank of England, which they also direct. They control the LBMA, London Bullion Market Association, where 30 to 42 million ounces of gold worth over $11 billion are traded daily. The Rothschilds earn millions weekly just on transaction fees alone. They also fix the world price of gold on a daily basis and profit from its ups and downs. Over the centuries, the Rothschilds have amassed trillions of dollars worth of gold bullion in their subterranean vaults and have cornered the world's gold supply. They own controlling interest in the world's largest oil company, Royal Dutch Shell. They operate phony charities and offshore banking services where the wealth of the black nobility in the Vatican is hidden in secret accounts at Rothschild Swiss banks, trusts, and holding companies. Although Evelyn Rothschild looks like a harmless gray-haired old man, make no mistake about it, Rothschild and his ancestors have handpicked presidents, crashed stock markets, bankrupted nations, orchestrated wars, and sponsored the mass murder and impoverishment of millions.
Rita Marley is a Cuban-born Jamaican reggae artist, most popularly known for being Bob Marley's wife and mother to his first 4 children. It is known that her and Bob had open relationships throughout their marriage, although Rita never bore any other man's child. Bob was famous for being publicly promiscuous with multiple women, while Rita dated other men in the shadows quite often. Bob Marley would officially father 11 children from multiple women while being married to Rita. I've always found this strange, as she accepted this treatment without filing for divorce. Was she plotting on Bob, as she was the heir to his royalties, since they were married at the time of his passing? Was she the asset the powers used to remove the king of reggae? As in the game of chess, if you lose your queen, you pretty much lose the game. Was she a scorned woman who would do anything to get payback for being publicly humiliated? She even went as far as to date the late Peter Tosh, one of Bob's oldest friends. In the words of the late Bunny Wailer, and I quote, "Be perfectly aware that Lord Chris Blackwell, Rita Anderson Marley, and Diane Jobson have been basically and literally involved in several questionable and illegal offences of murder regarding and Ray, relating to Robert Nestor Marley Owen, Winston Hubert McIntosh, and Robert's mother, Mrs. Malcolm Booker's passing, respectively. First, it was Rita who came to Bunny Wailer's house in Bull Bay. in 1974, stating that she had sworn to get Robert and therefore took the responsibility to put something given to her by Blackwell into Robert Marley's food, which later regarded Marley's passing. It was again Rita who had an intimate discussion, along with Leppo privately at her house, and for approximately 10 hours, planned the action for accommodating Leppo's associates, making the removal of Peter Winston McIntosh eminently possible, which took place at his home that same evening where Peter was removed. Mrs. Booker was then many years later removed in 2010, deliberately by Diane Jobson, who gave to Mrs. Booker the poisonous drug given to Diane E. Jobson by Chris Blackwell that made Mrs. Booker sleep for ever. In the same year of Robert Marley's removal, Rita also unalived her own aunt because her aunt Auntie, who was planning to give the house that she was then living in to her nephew Vision, who was with H. the Sulets and the Wailers respectively. It was also later discovered and witnessed surprisingly by the workers and occupants of Tough Gong Records Ltd located on Bell Road, where Rita disrespected the musical validity of her own father Brother Roy, forcing him to pass away from the worthlessness created by Rita that unalived her own father, this kind of evil and wickedness that people such as Rita Blackwell and Diane Jobson have done to the members and mother of the Wailers definitely needs to be addressed and will finally be assessed in the court of law. The Wailers, consisting of the late Robert Nesta Marley, Winston Hubert McIntosh and along with the living legend Neville O'Reilly Livingston, will therefore be involved in the justice, judgment, equity, and penalties relating to the family members of the Wailers respectively. I am therefore also relying upon the legal justice of the courts, incorporating as well the people in the record business of the world, for making positively quite sure that all these people mentioned herein are justifiably judged according to the nature of their evil crimes, cruel actions and vicious evil ventures of unaliving the members affiliated and related to the Wailers and family member Mrs. Booker mentioned herein. I, Bunny Wailer, I am therefore making quite sure that true and immediate justice is enforced and awarded to whom they are due, with the justifiable judgment related and attached respectively by Bunny Wailer. Foundation and survivor of the Wailers will therefore not be worried, threatened or opposed by anyone, including the accused hereof, but is focused on making quite sure that all the presumptuous and guilty persons mentioned herein be aware that I, Bunny Wailer, will be doing all the legal and necessary things that will keep I in the forefront of the Wailers futuristically. It is obviously quite certain and correct that Rita was held in the areas of Africa by the authorities there for smuggling diamonds for Chris Blackwell, which the African authorities had revealed. It very much seemed as if Rita and Chris Blackwell were and still are having an affair based on their involvement surrounding these illegal practices, and the transactions carried out between and by them, which could seem very questionable and liable based on the fact that Rita was and is supposed to be the wife of Robert Marley. Thanks for watching the Black Conspiracy channel. Until next time.
Can you hear someone being murdered in a song? This theory says yes. Now, if you're a hardcore conspiracy theorist, I know you've heard of Love Roller Coaster. It is said that during the song, you can hear a woman being killed in the background. And I know you want to hear it, so here you go. Now, this is not the only instance where you can hear a potential murder being recorded in a song. A song called Kissland by the artist The Weeknd is actually being accused of the same issue. Listen to this. Now, after taking a trip to the dark web, I learned that this theory goes even deeper. Killing somebody during the recording of a song can cause negative energy to be built up within the song. Theorists believe that when you listen to these songs, the negative energy will destroy you from the inside out. And in some of the worst songs, you can't even hear the screams.
You want to me. Just make me famous.
I just want $1 million.
3 weeks later, I got friends, and God did not forget about the second part. The American dream happened to me. I got the great job. I was good at it. I bought a house. The house had a pool. I had the American dream, and I really, really liked it. Loved it for about 6 months.
I'm Chandler. I make jokes when I'm uncomfortable.
And then I walked in my house and went, oh man, this is not fixing this problem that I have. How is that possible? Jim Carrey did a really good quote a couple of years ago, a few years ago, and he said, I want everybody to get their dream, all their dreams come true. Everybody. So that they could know that it's not the answer.
So where are the children? It's been 1 entire month since the Lahaina fire, and officials are still giving families and the public no real information. No update on the death toll, which they're now saying is anywhere between 115 and 385. Also, no information about the missing children or their parents. No updates from the DNA matches that Police Chief Pelletier was rapidly collecting.
She and another sister on the mainland did DNA swabs weeks ago. She filed a missing persons report with police too. She's been asking for 10 days if her DNA matches any of the 115 remains.
We've never got that information.
And still no proper relief from the government. The public remains left in the dark with no idea how many are actually missing. What we can assume is that the number is much higher than the 385 the government is claiming, and much higher than the less than 50 active missing person cases that Governor Josh Green is saying. As we've seen, the official number makes wild jumps down from the over 2,000 kids that were originally missing. It also doesn't match up with the latest stats from the Department of Education, which says out of 3,000 students enrolled in West Maui, approximately 1,200 remain undetermined.
33, we're tracking new developments regarding West Maui schools. Now, here are the latest stats from the Department of Education. Before the fire, there were 3,001 students enrolled in that area. Since then, 778 have re-enrolled in other schools. 874 have signed up for distance learning. 129 are now enrolled in charter or independent schools. 12 have withdrawn. Now that leaves about 1,200 students that the DOE is actively trying to contact.
Nick Sorter said, at a minimum, I believe officials are definitely hiding the real numbers, especially for missing, from the people of Maui, hoping this story goes by the wayside and their grip of power becomes less threatened. Families are left with more and more unanswered questions with each passing day.
Those who have been searching for clues about what happened to their loved ones are frustrated with the lack of answers from officials.
Yeah, Bridget, a lot of family members flew to Maui searching for answers and for their loved ones, and now many of them are leaving with more questions and with heartache.
There are hundreds of families who don't know what's going on. They're unable to come here. They're getting bits and pieces of information, and there needs to be a hub.
Are there children that have been found, and is there any hesitance to announce that, because that'll obviously just be a different level of heartbreak?
I don't know. I wish
Yes,
I knew
you
the answer.
do. How many children are missing? You know.
If I knew the answer to that, I would be happy to answer that.
You have no estimate as to how many children are missing?
I guess
Nothing?
we can end this right now if you guys want. Sorry,
This is one of the biggest questions that the people of Lahaina have, but you don't want to answer.
It always takes one or two to ruin it for everybody. Please,
this is our first, this is our only
Well, we could say that about you. You ruined it for everyone.
You're welcome to say it. You're the media. You can say whatever you want.
You're a disaster.
All right. Okay. Please.
You've been the worst mayor we could possibly imagine.
You won't even wait.
Respect what? This is the most dismal response we've ever had.
You won't wait for your turn. You want to shout over these guys that are legitimate.
Why don't you give them the real answers then? Give them the real answers.
That's not his question.
Let him.
Yeah. You can go. Yeah.
And then they're lying to us about the people and the children. That's why a lot of people have been contacting me, because they want to know what happened to the kids. Well, all you got to do is extrapolate. There's 3,001 students in Lahaina. 1,000 of them have been accounted for. They're going to either alternative schools or online. That's 2,000 children not accounted for. And this has been weeks afterwards. and they're talking about 100 or maybe 850 or 1,100 that are missing. It doesn't add up.
Nothing adds up.
Nothing adds up.
I mean, no pun here, but it seems kind of fishy, don't it, Fish?
Very fishy.
Very fishy.
And
Still don't have any answers regarding the school buses as well. I had mentioned the buses on a video a few days ago, assuming you had seen the video on it already. I left you all with questions, so this next video you're about to see has no audio, but if you read along, it will explain the school bus mystery. If school was canceled that day, as they tell us, wouldn't the buses be lined up in the parking lot since they weren't in use? Footage has surfaced of a long line of school buses evacuating from Lahaina.
The fact that you couldn't come to Lahaina for weeks after the fire, there was no media that was allowed in, there was no supplies you could bring in, they build a fence, you can't fly a drone over for weeks.
Can't ask about children.
I mean, it just goes on and on and on. The list is so long, and that's why when I read this book, I was like, this is the first document that I read that kind of, you know, it's like the tip of the iceberg still, I'm sure, but it gives you all.
One viewer commented saying, the government can declare the number of missing at any number they want, whatever makes them look best. There's no way to check their numbers. The higher the number, the more embarrassment and litigation they'll face. So they try to keep this number as low as possible.
Billionaires are hiding the end of the world from us. An investigator recently discovered something bone-chilling at Mark Zuckerberg's private estate in Hawaii. The tech billionaire is currently building a $270 million private underground bunker, and he's trying to keep it a secret. But it doesn't stop there. Shockingly, other wealthy elites are doing the same thing. At least 15 other billionaires, including Kim Kardashian, Jay-Z, and Beyonce, have reportedly begun investing in their own secretive underground shelters. But the scariest part is this. They've all started building their bunkers within the last 2 months. What are they hiding from us? And is it happening soon? Each of the billionaires has built their bunkers to withstand everything from mass riots and uprisings to nuclear attacks. The scale of these preparations raises chilling questions about what they might know that the rest of us don't. Could the elite truly be preparing for an upcoming catastrophe, or are they just taking elaborate precautionary measures? As construction continues in utmost secrecy, all the rest of us can do is wait and find out what happens next.
My small conspiracy today is that I believe the Netflix top 10 is artificially made. So we have the top 10 here from last week, and I started questioning myself, why Hangover? To me, it wouldn't be weird if it was just put on Netflix not so long ago, but it was put on April 1st, 2020. Another example I have of this is Daybreak, which was released back in October 2019. And I thought at first, I'm getting an advertisement for this because maybe a season 2 is coming out. But with a simple Google search, we know that there's no season 2. That makes me think that any content that wasn't successful at first is being put back in front of our eyes, so maybe it can get a second chance. It kind of sucks to say, but it works. I've fallen for it where I've seen shows that kind of wasted my time. And you know what? I know Netflix got their money back somehow.
Fascinating, and we're not done with Jeffrey Epstein. I can tell you that for a fact. Can't tell you how I know, but I can tell you for a fact we're going to hear a lot more about Jeffrey Epstein in the coming year, and you may be even hearing from him directly. More on that as I'm allowed to tell you.